Well, hello everyone. This is Trish Mangold, holistic health practitioner, founder of Elevate Vitality, and I'm so glad that you're all finally in this our part three, our third day of our three-part series. I am really excited to bring all this to you. We've been talking about three specific questionnaires that kind of give us an insight into what's going on in our body in the moment. And the purpose of all of this is to kind of just get in tune and know that it's not necessarily our age, our hormones, or our genetics that are holding us back. With that being said, I want to do a little recap on what we've been talking about. And on day one, we talked about clearing the toxic load and we looked at a questionnaire. So just so you know, in the chat, I have reposted a link to these three questionnaires. This is a Google Drive, and this information is made to be shared with your loved ones. Have your partners do it, have your best friends do it, so that you can all kind of just, the more you share this information, and it's a lot of information that we've been talking about, the more you share it and kind of re-talk about it, it helps the information stick and reinforce in yourself. And then we can have that ripple effect when we share free tools like this that we can really use to sort of check in with our bodies, where we're at and where we might need extra support, and also to celebrate the wins. So these questionnaires are tools to establish our baseline and to also revisit like every 30 days or so to see where we're at and if our numbers have changed, how they've changed, what areas specifically we've gained momentum in, and what areas might be needing a little extra attention, because our environments are constantly changing, and so should our self-care habits. So we continue to evolve and meet our bodies where we're at in real time. We don't always need to outsource our health and well-being to a doctor. We don't need to give it up to fate and our genetics, because we live in a modern time where we can be really empowered to look at our genetic strengths and weaknesses and have actionable tips to really move the needle for us so that we can age gracefully throughout all stages of life. So can everyone hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, awesome. All right, great. So we looked at the neurotoxic load, and if just to recap, the invisible burden on our body over time from processed foods, our environments, chemicals, heavy metals, what we're putting on our skin, and stress, and even emotional toxicity. So remember those scores we looked at, we got anywhere from under 25 was like a mild stress on the body, moderate was under 50, and anything over that was a severe toxic load. So these aren't numbers to be scared. They're not fixed, and it doesn't have to be your story the whole time. And even if you scored low, and I think some of us did, but there's always room for improvement, right? So we began drawing connections to symptoms that we've been noticing, and like block detox pathways, like maybe puffiness under the eyes. Some of us might notice, like when we first wake up in the morning, we have some puffiness in the face, or maybe it's a coated tongue. Like a lot of us can, you stick out your tongue in the mirror in the morning, and you can kind of see a white coating. That's typically indicative of candida in the body. And candida is part of it can be imbalanced in the body when it thrives in sugar and carbs and alcohol. And it's also behind our sweet tooth cravings. So if maybe a sweet tooth is something we want to curb, or cravings in particular, we can know that this is a cue in our body that it's time to kind of address the microbiome. And also feeling disconnected from our intuition and unable to trust our gut. So and mood swings and irritability and emotional heaviness, these can all be indications when we need to clear the toxic load. We're not just talking about physical toxins, we're talking about emotional toxicity in the body. Because we know that heavy emotions, while there's no such thing as a bad emotion, but a healthy emotional response should last about 90 seconds. So we're give ourselves permission to cry, to be angered, to be pissed off, and to voice that in our relationships and to ourselves and acknowledge it. But we also need to be able to do that effectively, to be felt like we're heard and seen in our relationships. And also so that we're not holding back communication. Because when we hold back things in our body, we create issues in the tissues and stagnation in our detox pathways. So simple cues to look at your body, besides doing the neurotoxic questionnaire, is like, do you have a pit or a puff? And often this can be, if your armpit isn't a pit, and it's kind of puffy, that's a sign of stagnation of the lymph. Um, and inflammation in the body, swelling, ankle swelling, and emotional volatility. So if we're, not feeling like we're in control of our moods, or if we're feeling outbursts and we're not in the heat of the moment, we find ourselves saying things we don't mean, but we're not effectively communicating. So it's a time to start looking at our toxic load and do something about it. We explored how to unlock these pathways using minerals, like B minerals are my favorite. Systemic enzymes that move through the body to nourish and open up our detox pathways so that opportunistic pathogens aren't, having a party in our body. And how we can clear these residuals that weigh us down mentally and emotionally. We've talked about how we can look at our genetics. So many of us used to, the old science is out, like our genetics aren't our fate. We all have a unique genetic blueprint, which means our self-care and our supplementation should be as unique as our genetics. So I used to think, wouldn't it be so cool if we had a way of knowing exactly what supplements our body needs, how much of a supplement, and in the right dosage, which is how much, and then in what format. So some of us might have an MTHFR mutation, for example, which impairs our ability to turn genes on and off at the right time, as well as detox and absorb certain vitamins like B vitamins. So if you have that mutation, it's very empowering to know. And many of you know that I'm aligned with a company called SNP Nutrigenomics, which does a beautiful cheek swab test, which can be done in the comfort of your home. You don't need a doctor's appointment. And it looks at actionable genes that we can actually move the needle with. So what it does, it creates, a beautiful insight into your genetic blueprint, and then it creates a customized formula, one single supplement that can bridge the gaps in your genetic weaknesses. So it's filled with adaptogens and Chinese herbs to help support our DNA and healthy aging and hormone balance and longevity. So that's what it's at the heart of all this work that I do with these neurotoxic questionnaires, the metabolic flexibility questionnaire. And today we're talking about mitochondria. But before I get into those powerhouses of our cells, I want to recap what we did as well on day 2, metabolic flexibility. So this is the bridge between fasting and flow. If we feel stagnant or stuck in our bodies, if diet and exercise isn't working, if you feel like, you can't go between meals without snacking, these are signs of metabolic instability, dysfunction. If you're heading towards high cholesterol or pre-diabetic, if your A1C is over 5, this is a sign of metabolic dysfunction. These lifestyle diseases that often are normalized as we go through and get, sometimes we're told it's in our family, high cholesterol, fatty liver, diabetes. It's kind of just waiting for the other shoe to drop. The truth of the matter is we inherit familial lifestyle and patterns, and we can break these patterns. And the quickest and easiest way to do this is something free that doesn't cost $1, that saves you time and energy and money. And it's called fasting. We talked about the 6 different types of fasting. Many of us are familiar with intermittent fasting, 13 to 15 hours. And then I'll recap quickly the other 5 types of fasting, the milestones that you hit in your biology when you turn on your metabolic switch. So we explored signs of the metabolism being stuck, which is having a hard time going between meals without snacking, feeling ravenous first thing in the morning, like you really need to eat, afternoon fatigue, irritability, cravings between meals. So these are some signs that we need to start. And also when you're doing all the right things like eating well and exercising, you still have that stubborn fat on the body. This is also signs and brain fog of metabolic inflexible dysfunction. So this is like your mitochondria aren't switching energy sources efficiently, which leads to fatigue and mood swings and slower metabolism. We dove into the science of the art of fasting. So as women, we need to be mindful of our symphony of hormones. So on the 20th, there's an invitation for you all to join me on a 30-day reset where we will be incorporating all these concepts and frameworks into your unique 30-day blueprint. We'll match it to your hormone profile, and we'll be using it to leverage all 3 of these scores, your neurotoxic score, your metabolic flexibility score, and your mitochondria score. So like I said, we talked about the 17-hour fast, the autophagy fast, anti-cancer, anti-aging. We talked about the 36-hour fat burner fast. And I can't wait to hear from Ashley. She's stepping into this. She's been using this information. Like these aren't just opportunities for us to sit together and talk about cool concepts. Ashley's embodying it and she's bringing this into her lifestyle. So it's about using these as lifestyles, as monthly lifestyle tools that are flexible to incorporate around your social and family schedules, and you can plug it in and understanding the art and science of it to match to your unique hormone profile. So each length of a fast has activates different healing pathways in the body, from balancing blood sugar, boosting mood and cognition and focus, lowering inflammation, stimulating autophagy, stem cell renewal. A lot of people are spending hundreds, thousands of dollars on stem cells, and what's better than activating your own stem cells naturally, especially your innate intelligence of the body knows what stem cells need to be. So stem cells are all produced in the bones, but it knows where to send the stem cells. If you have a nagging injury, soft tissue, ligament injury, knee pain, Achilles heel injury, or maybe if you've been pregnant, a lot of pregnant women, when they step into a 72-hour immune boosting reset fast, those stem cells start to peak and they start repairing that scar tissue that may have accumulated during childbearing. So women especially thrive when fasting is synced to your hormone profile. So you get optimizing your natural estrogen and progesterone rhythms, even post-menopause. So we're supporting healthy aging, emotional steadiness, metabolism, and hormone communication. This is how we build not just a longer lifespan, but also health span. That's having vitality in your years as we age. More energy, focus, and ease, and having um, feeling calm and more connected. It translates to our relationships, how we show up in our own body, the confidence that we have, and how we show up in life. So with more clarity, vitality, and creativity. And so that brings us to today. Today we're talking about mitochondria mastery. So what are mitochondria? Many of us have heard of them. And I'm going to take a little break from chin wagging here and just bring your attention to the chat window. Again, there's a link to these questionnaires. I want everyone to know, please share these with your loved ones. And the chat window, don't let me forget, I do want to announce there's a yoga festival next Saturday, the 18th. Melanie put a beautiful flyer together for me so there's some details there for you, and you can please share that and opportunities to win free tickets to this yoga festival. And I will be announcing October 20th, we're going to be doing a community 30-day reset together. And if anyone's interested in stacking the Zen Cleanse resets, emotional and physical resets with your 30-day reset, I encourage you to go to their website. You can use code ELEVATE for a discount. And you might want to get maybe the flow kit or the 1-day gut cleanse or the 1-day liver cleanse, or maybe even the rainbow cleanse, which includes the gut and the liver cleanse and also some maintenance enzymes in there. And we'll talk about how you can do that. You can either do it 7 days in a row, you can break it up over time. So there's many ways that we're going to be talking about how to explore optimizing our gut, liver, and our internal terrain synced with our fasting rhythms and our hormones. So I just want you to know that. And then and before I start about today, does anybody have any questions so far, or any shares, or any takeaways, or maybe there's just one thing that kind of has stuck out to you in the last 2 days that was your key takeaway, and it's something that you've started to sink your teeth into? Anyone care to unmute and say anything? Oh, hi.
Well, you completely inspired me. I'm on what I think 40-hour now fast. Gonna try to do well, I am going to do the 72 hours, maybe even longer, who knows. But yeah, I'm really excited. And I did your castor oil pool this morning too. They wanted they wanted to do antibiotics in my mouth for no reason really. I'm definitely gonna do this oil pool every day so I don't have to do the antibiotics.
Beautiful. I love that. That's amazing. That's good to hear. I'm glad. So what are you finding the most difficult, and where have you found how are you feeling at this very moment?
I feel good. I feel really good. I woke up with a lot of energy. Yeah, I've been drinking hot water. I've been boiling it in my kettle and then pouring in my little teacup and Mix it kind of tricks the brain thinking I am drinking like tea or something that, is nourishing my body, but it's just water. And it feels like a warm hug inside. So I feel
Oh,
like I'm being hugged and, cared for. And yeah, it's really it's really awesome. And I've done 2 pinches of salt yesterday because I had a
okay.
little headache.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, let me try some. I have the Redmond salt or
Great.
whatever. So yeah, and that my headache went away completely.
Isn't that
It was,
amazing?
it was really, really crazy. It's like we don't even need Tylenol anymore. We just need salt, really.
Yes. Quality minerals is where it's at. Most people that suffer with chronic headaches, I mean, whether it's chronic or, a series of headaches, it can be all the difference in the world is just fortifying your body with minerals. And then, then you get the people that are like taking these isolated magnesium minerals, and there's a lot of different types of magnesium for different reasons. But when you take a full spectrum mineral like your Redmond sea salt, you're getting all the cofactors that the body needs to get the hydration in. So yes, it's really great that you leaned into the salt. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
And
thank
I
you.
love that you're doing a little state changer with the warm water.
Yeah, I haven't really drank a lot of warm water. We're always doing something else besides water. So now that I can only drink water right now, I literally I filled my kettle up probably like 5, 6 times yesterday. So I didn't really leave. I just spent the whole time going to the bathroom, but
Mhm.
that's
And
okay.
yeah, right. How's your sleep?
I'm not gonna lie. It was a little, I was tossing and turning
Mhm.
more than I normally do. So I'm like, I don't know if that has something to do with, and it did bring up a little bit of I mean, I'm only in 24 hours in, but it brought up a little emotions yesterday for me. And I guess it's
Yeah,
stirs emotions.
it
And
sure
yes,
does.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
So you get really
Mhm.
clear in clarity. So often we turn to food for emotional reasons. And, it's a subconscious thing. It's not like we're really aware of it. Um,
Right.
so an emotional state change. And when we are in a fasted state, we're moving energy through the body, and it could be emotional, it could be physical. It might come out on your skin. You might notice a little bloating. You could have like a little breakout. But this
Mhm.
is all coming out in your detox pathways. You could have changes in your regular bowel movements, like maybe things come out differently. And that's like you purging what's no longer serving you. So as your microbiome is shifting, that 24-hour gut reset, and there's certain emotions that are connected in our gut, things can arise. And I always say, whatever is arising and coming out is leaving, and just acknowledge it with grace and without judgment.
I wanted to ask you, should I do probiotics since I'm like there's nothing in there, or just completely just do nothing?
So I would not. So if you're going to lean into a fasted snack to get you through your milestone, if your goal is 72 hours, I would say like a tablespoon here and there of a fermented food
Okay.
can be helpful in supporting, I always say whole food sources of your probiotics and your polyphenols. Those are the three P's that really support gut microbiome. So if you're really wanting to give yourself something good to like your microbiome to kind of fuel on while you're doing this, it technically shouldn't break a fasted state, but it'll give you something, your gut bugs, a healthy thing to kind of
Okay.
marinate. Yeah.
Cool.
Does that
Thank
answer
you.
your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So these are the types of things, and these are the conversations we're going to have in the 30-day reset. So I'm really excited that, I want to invite you all to join and lean into it and use this community to connect with each other because it's really inspiring to see each other and find support with each other and find commonality with each other, like we don't have to go through these struggles alone, and we have more in common than we think. And then, that collective energy thing, we just all thrive in community. It's like one of the intrinsic community is one of the 8 core intrinsic steps in Dr. Zach's journey of intrinsic health community. So community is just massive. And I think that's a huge thing. We've all heard of those blue zones in the world, right? Where people are centurions and, they're living with a lot of health and vitality in their later years. And it's heavily based in community. Community is one of the common threads that run through it all. Anyone else have anything to add or questions or just anything else? Okay.
I
Um,
just received
no?
my castor oil pack and my tongue scraper, so I haven't used them yet, but they just got dropped at my door, so
Oh,
I'm
that's
excited.
divine timing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, well, jump in with that. And even if you don't want to wear it at night, I mean, like Ashley mentioned, a warm hug with warm water. I think the castor oil pack also feels like a warm hug. You sleep with it overnight. You only need like a quarter size, put a little in your belly button, a little smiley face under your belly. And a little over your lower right ribs. Underneath those low floating ribs is where your liver and gallbladder live. And castor oil will penetrate that area, absorb and soften up those stones, soften up that stagnation, and help with elimination in the morning, helps with that contraction of the GI system. So you'll hopefully notice you'll have a more full elimination in the morning. You know, a lot of people rely on caffeine to get things going in the morning. This is a sign of a blocked detox pathway. So however you want to look at caffeine, I will say you want to make sure that your coffee is mold free and it's one of the most heavily sprayed things. So please invest in quality coffee if that's something that it's part of your ritual. If you can switch to matcha, matcha is a much more gentle caffeine source and it has a lot of antioxidants in it. You know, there's a lot of studies have been done behind coffee. And it does caffeine and the antioxidants of coffee can be beneficial, but matcha is even a switch, a healthy hack switch. If you like, it's an acquired taste, but if you can get into it, it's a nice, healthy alternative because the type of caffeine that's in matcha versus coffee, it doesn't fry and tax your adrenals as much as caffeine from coffee does. So I don't know. I don't know why I got on that tangent, but if you get to know me, I just get on tangents sometimes. So matcha is a little nice swap out if you can do it. Or if you really are married to your coffee, make sure it's mold free. Okay, so um, today is day 3 of our mitochondria mastery. So here's a quick introduction. How many of us wake up in the mornings feeling refreshed and full of energy? And how many of us feel like our batteries are already at 30% before breakfast? And sometimes every day is not the same. I will say, Ashley shared post a 24-hour fast, her sleep was a little thrown off. Um, sorry, I don't have a brand of mold-free coffee. I know Dr. Mindy does. I've never had a cup of coffee, so I don't like the smell or taste of it. So Dr. Mindy does, and you can do a YouTube search on Dr. Mindy, put in coffee, and you'll find what that is. So back to mitochondria. So Ashley, a 17-hour fast is autophagy, right? Your body's cleaning up. And why does the body want sleep? Let's think about biology. Sleep is for repair and rest and digest, right? And when we're in a fasted state, often it's very common for our sleep to be thrown off. And sometimes that's just because your body, A, needs less sleep because you're also repairing during the day. And sometimes, our microbes are shifting, so that can keep us up. You might be killing off certain bugs that are in your body that can also be nocturnal at night and keep you up. So when things are starting to shift in your biology, certain things like candida or maybe other parasites are like, feed me, feed me. So then they're keeping you up and keeping you restless and making you think about food and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. And as you move further into a fasted state, you can also need less sleep. So maybe you'll find yourself maybe waking up a lot earlier than you normally do. And that could just be, and your mind is like, ketones are going to start kicking in, Ashley. If it's not already, are you noticing mental clarity or a little bit of extra energy? I see a lot of nods. And if you want to unmute yourself and add anything, feel free. But yeah, it's pretty wild how mental clarity just goes through the roof. Ashley, did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I woke up earlier today. I mean, I was forced to take a nap yesterday during the day, which I don't really take naps. But I was just so tired and I fell asleep and woke up like an hour and a half later. It was really strange, but I guess, yeah, that and woke up really early and I did a lot of stuff this morning, more than I normally do. And yeah, I feel really good, really clear.
That's great. Yeah. And so I'm so glad you gave yourself permission to have that afternoon nap. So tune in. This is an opportunity to just be really present with your body and tune in and just lean into what your body feels like it needs and trust your body. Trust your body's got this. And we'll have those moments of like, oh, I could really use something. And we'll talk about facet snacks in our 30-day reset. And we'll talk about little healthy state changers that you can do to kind of give your body a little bit of a shift. A little shift in that state and then move through to the next milestone if that's your goal. And we'll talk about the art of breaking a fast and also when you need to break a fast. So we'll cover all those things. I know there was a question from Goalie the other day about who shouldn't be fasting. And you're your own N of one study. What that means is be your own personal study. There's no one size fits all roadmap. But also, pregnant women should not be fasting, and lactating women that are breastfeeding should not be fasting. So, because it does mobilize toxins in the body, we don't want to be moving that into breast milk and feeding our babies. And then we also don't want to, you know, be mobilizing toxins when we're growing a fetus in our body. So, um, Rachel, was there, I see an A in the comments, but I don't know what that, is there something you wanted to say? That an A just came through, that was it.
No, I was trying to cut and paste. It says mold-free coffee brands are Danger Coffee, Life Boost Coffee, and Cardiology Coffee. Those are her brands she recommends.
Okay,
Doc-
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, I love having a little researcher in our group. Thank you. Real-time information. Yeah, and this again, this is what this community that we're building together is all about, is sharing information. So, yay. So here we are on day 3. So has everyone had a chance to look at their mitochondria scores and do the questionnaire? And would anybody care to share, or any surprises that came up as you were going through the questionnaire? Any thought processes that surprised you, or maybe that you kind of suspected and it reinforced something, or any of the above? Okay, so let's go into it. So like I said, your mitochondria, did you know, actually, Dr. Zach told me this, that your mitochondria are actually little, they're little viruses in our body. They really are. They're like little viruses in our body, but they work for us. So our microbiome, we have 10 times more microbiome, meaning things that live within us than we do human cells. So we're really this amazing ecosystem. We're not just a human cell, right? We're not just human meat soup. We've got these live microbes, and this is why I put such a huge emphasis on optimizing our gut health, because that's our immune system. It's where our happy, feel-good neurotransmitters are made, and it communicates to the outside world. It signals to our DNA what to turn on, what to turn off, and how we move through life and through our environment. Isn't our innate intelligence freaking amazing? I mean, honestly, it's mind-blowing. So our mitochondria, um, you know, and our microbiome is changing every day, right? And the name of the game is to diversify our microbiome. And that makes us more resilient through all environments, through our immune system, and through whatever we're dealing with emotionally, mentally, and physically and spiritually in life. So that's why I say the 3 Ps. I borrow that from Dr. Mindy: probiotics, prebiotics, and polyphenols. Those 3 foods should be on your plate every time you sit down and eat, if you can do it. Get a variety of all of those. We have something called the estrobolome, which is part of our microbiome. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. This stuff I'll save for the 30th. I'm going to really stay focused here since we have about 15 minutes to go through our mitochondria. When our mitochondria are thriving, we feel grounded, we feel clear, we feel emotionally balanced. When we're depleted, we feel foggy, inflamed, and disconnected. So no matter how clean your diet is or how many supplements we take, you need to recharge your mitochondria, and our light, our sunlight from nature, can help do that. We have more mitochondria receptors in our eyes than we do anywhere else in the body. And I think next is our ovaries. So yay for us women. And also the next part, I forget. It's one of our vital organs, but maybe it's our brain, but it's our eyes and our freaking ovaries, which I think is amazing. So
Trish,
yeah.
question for you. So you were just talking about mitochondria and eyes. So does that mean that we shouldn't be wearing sunglasses?
Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, I would say if the height of the UV in the middle of the day, that fluctuates depending on the season, which hemisphere you're in. But at the height of the UV, wear your sunglasses. But, in the morning, get out in that natural low light. First thing in the morning, here's a 7-day goal for you, for everyone. Go outside for 15 minutes every morning within the first 30 minutes of waking up, before you look at your phone, before you do anything else. Go outside and do some breath work, do some jumping, do some body activation, tapping, move your lymph, and look at the horizon. You don't need to look at the sun. You just look at the horizon. Listen to the sound of the birds singing. This is naturally calming your nervous system. And your mitochondria need even a good night's sleep starts with the morning. That helps signal to the brain in like 13 hours we need to produce melatonin because then it's bedtime. So if you want to have a deeper sleep, it starts in the morning. So get out with no sunglasses, no hat, no sunscreen for 10 to 15 minutes every morning. And make a date with yourself to look at the sunset every night. Go with your loved one, call a girlfriend, go for a barefoot walk on the beach, get out and enjoy the sunset. So those are the free red light therapy 2 times a day, right? And the back of our knees, if you can have them exposed, I was explaining to Gola yesterday, there's a, a connection with the back of our knees and our circadian rhythm. I think there's a lot of mitochondria in the back of our knees that also can help reset our circadian rhythms. Isn't that cool? Like our bodies are energetic beings, and the sunlight is recharging us, and the earthing on the ground barefoot is recharging us. So mitochondrial health connects to our hormones, aging, and our genes. The hidden signs are cell batteries. These are our cell batteries and are running low. And there are rituals that we can recharge our cells through fasting, through sunlight exposure, through movement, minerals, and mindset. So minerals are like the spark plugs. That's why we need these full spectrum minerals. They're the spark plugs that create the frequencies and the communication in our body. So our microbiome and our energy, cellular, the intracellular communication is what signals our genes to do what they do. Isn't that cool? Like we're electric light energy beings. So that's why our genes aren't fixed. 93%, some will say 97%, but the science of epigenetics means your environment, your internal and external environment influences your genes. So whether you hit the genetic lottery or not with your parents, you have 93% control of how well your genes function, either for the positive or for the negative. So don't leave it up to chance and fate. Are we good? Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, so let's look at our our mitochondria scores. Who would like to share what they scored?
Sign me up for another test.
Sign me up for another test.
65.
65. Okay. And was there something on the test that stood out to you? Like where were your higher numbers?
Nothing stood out to me when I looked at the mitochondria quiz going through it.
Okay, so I guess it's just a yes or a no kind of, you're getting a point, yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can also kind of use these scores to overlap with your neurotoxic load score and your metabolic flexibility score, and we can start to optimize those scores. And then I imagine that your mitochondria scores could come down. I know that you are a Healy user. I've got mine running right now. So the Healy provides individualized microcurrent frequency. And what this does is delivers this current is delivered to your body when you're using the straps. That increases your ATP. So your mitochondria produce ATP. That's the technical chemical that's produced when it's taking in the fuel source, whether it's sugar from eating or ketones from your liver when you're in a fasted state. This ATP is basically the product. It's like the gas. It's what the powerhouses make that your body runs on. Does that make sense? It's the currency. It's like the gas in the tank of your body. So one session of doing Healy can boost ATP up to 500%.
Which program are you talking about?
I'm sorry?
Which program?
All of them. When you use the microcurrent frequencies, one session can boost ATP up to 500%.
Oh, good, because I'm doing it 2 to 3 times a day.
There you go. So again, the free stuff is sunlight exposure, mineralizing, hydrating with minerals, full spectrum minerals. So the sea salts, the Beam minerals, and quality water. So let's just talk about, limiting the toxic load. So having a filter on your shower head and your bath, opening up your windows during the day and getting fresh air, grounding grounding, and then using fasting. Fasting is such a beautiful tool to optimize body's innate intelligence to boost the ATP, right? Because when you're not constantly fueling, your body's repairing and it's repairing old mitochondria that are limping along. So it goes in and eats up the old cells and it produces new baby cells that are fresh. And those powerhouses are firing without very strongly. And your eyes are quick to repair. Your I recently got these glasses that produce red light, and it's a 3-minute session, and I do it every morning. I've been doing it for like a week. It's a company out of UK, and I'll share this in our 30-day reset if you guys are interested. But so my friend who's an acupuncturist, she said so many clients were coming into her and using these light glasses, and they were getting off the prescription lenses. And I'm like, well, I could use that because I'm starting to notice, especially in the morning, which is so interesting. Here's a funny tip, like how our body's connected. So your eyesight is on your liver line. And in the morning, you're in the Chinese clock, like 2 to 4 in the morning, your liver is it's called liver time. And like if you're noticing you often wake up between that time, it's a sign that your liver's overloaded and you need to do a liver cleanse. And so in the morning, specifically in the morning, my eyes are so blurry. I can't focus on, it takes me like 40 minutes for my eyes to be able to focus on words this in front of me. And so it was like a little nerve-wracking. I'm in my 46, so I'm like, okay, am I going to start needing glasses soon? I've spent too much screen time and it's a lot of strain on the eye. But it's so interesting that your eyes are on your liver line, and after your liver's dumped, your liver's a little, sluggish and it's full of stuff. That's why we need to eliminate in the morning, and we need to scrape our tongues, and we need to hydrate, and we need to get the lymph moving. And but anyway, to be determined. I'll keep you posted, but I've got these glasses that I'm using to help with my eyesight. So I'm hopeful that I'm going to have a similar story as Katrina's patients on her acupuncture table that are saying that they're reversing their prescription lenses. So wouldn't that be nice to not have to get prescription lenses? So I feel like I'm talking a lot. And anyone have any questions? Take a little sip of water here, and then I'm going to go back to our any questions, like what did you want to learn? I'm here for you. So what did you want to learn about your mitochondria, or how you can limit your mitochondria, or anything that we've been talking about in this 3-part series?
I think the information about the glasses was very fascinating, just as a side note. But for the mitochondria, I scored a 70. And it wasn't really surprising, but there were 2 questions I wasn't sure how to answer. I don't know if I have a hard time getting into ketosis, and I don't know if I have a hard time keeping my blood sugar levels down, just because I don't test them. So I just kind of left those blank.
Okay. So blood sugar. So just if you can tune in with your body and say, like do you feel like a lot of brain fog, or maybe like a lot of people can feel, sorry, I thought I turned this off. A lot of people can, the standard answer for blood sugar is if you can go between meals without snacking, you probably have a pretty stable blood sugar. If you get shaky and, if you can't go more than 3 or 4 hours between meals without snacking, then you probably have a sugar imbalance. But so we've talked about insulin sensitivity and what happens with insulin resistance. And when we constantly have a lot of blood sugar in the bloodstream, which my guess is, knowing a little sliver of your history, I don't think that might be a problem for you at the moment, because you're I don't know. What I will say is, if when you get your next blood work done, if you haven't done it recently, you'll have to request your doctor to give you the request for a H1C to be H1C to be on there. It's just a few dollars for a test, and it looks at your average blood sugar over the last 90 days. And it's a score, you want the score to be 5 and under, and that means you're in a healthy blood sugar range. And then if it's over 5, that means you're over 5 to 6, I think, is pre-diabetic, and over like a certain number is diabetic. And a lot of people walk around with diabetes and pre-diabetes and don't even know it.
Right.
So that's a good indication. But I would say having a little bit of a tremor could be an indication of blood sugar imbalances. But knowing your story, I don't know exactly.
Right.
And the other question, so one of them was about blood sugar. She didn't answer it. And what was the other one?
Ketosis. If you have trouble getting into ketosis, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So the only way, so about these longer fasts, if you're going to do a longer fast, I should recommend everyone do one. If you're going to step into like a 48-hour, 72-hour fast, put a CGM on, a continuous glucose monitor. Now they've become more accessible and affordable. Or you can get actually better than that. Never scratch that. It would be a Keto Mojo. And a Keto Mojo measures blood sugar and ketones. And you can get one on Amazon, and it's a finger prick, and then you put a blood drop on two different test strips, one's for ketones and one's for blood sugar. And you can measure your body's response. And some people do have a hard time getting into ketosis. And this is an indication of a blocked detox pathways. So because your ketones are produced in the liver, and if your liver's overburdened and gummed up and you're with gallstones and fatty liver, 1 in 3 people have non-alcoholic fatty liver, and that's all because of the processed foods and chemicals we're exposed to. So this is a problem, and this needs to be addressed. And like I said, fasting is an easy way to unstick these issues that doesn't cost money and it saves time. And the investments that you should make in that, when I say fasting saves time and money, it does because you're not shopping and you're not cooking and you're not buying food, but you should invest in minerals, and if you can, the cheek swab test, because looking at your genetics and having a precision way to bridge the gaps in your unique genetic weaknesses is really powerful. So that you're cruising down the freeway in fifth gear and we're going through from life from A to B efficiently versus running at, in second gear and you don't even know it. And so that's kind of when you don't know what your genetics are doing and you're not optimizing them, that's what's happening on the silent, invisible level. And so we can go and get our blood work and we can look at what's circulating in our blood. That doesn't really matter if it's not getting into your cells. So when you optimize your genetics, you're able to get things into your cells better and optimize the detox pathways and the uptake of things. So it's not just your MTHFR, it's also vitamin D receptors. A lot of us, I have it, and I've tested probably 30 people and I've seen their reports, and I've seen a lot of us have a vitamin D receptor deficiency. And so we know that's important because D is actually a hormone, it's not a vitamin. And it's used for our hormones and for a lot of, even circadian rhythm regulation, meaning our sleep-wake cycles. And Goalie's saying, I can attest the genetic swab was a piece of cake. Waiting for results is the hard part. I know. And it takes up to 3 business days to get your results back. So it's a simple cheek swab test, so it's easy. And it gives you 10 customized reports with actionable steps. So it's like lean into these foods, stay away from these foods. And from this information, you can build your lifestyle around it. And that's what we'll also do. We'll even for those of you who want to lean into that, we'll further personalize your 30-day reset with this information. Okay, so I just want to look at my notes here and make sure that I'm giving you a full picture of what mitochondria do. So it's the spark of life. It's the battery with every cell. It's tiny but mighty, invisible to the naked eye. But the power plants of your cell, they convert food and oxygen to ATP. We've talked about, and which is ATP is synonymous with energy. It's found in every cell of the body, and we have more than one. It's just the concentration of how many mitochondria in each cell varies. So our eyes have the densest concentration next to our ovaries, and then there's a list there. So if you're working on regulating hormones or fertility, these types of things are like, essential. And even if you're not trying to get pregnant, I always say fertility is the 5th vital sign because it's a sign of longevity and health span. And not to say for those of us who aren't in our fertile years anymore, it's just understanding how to work with these rhythms is a blueprint for longevity and improving your health span. So they power everything. So for those scoring above 50, do we take a specific metals test mentioned in the quiz? No. What I suggest doing is working with your 30-day blueprint for 4 months. 4 months is the cycle of red blood cells. And if you're able to take your customized code formula from the SNP test, from the cheek swab test, give your body a chance to optimize at the genetic level before we spend money on extra tests. And in fact, don't even extra test. I would say just spend your money and your energy and your efforts in optimizing your terrain because we're always going to get exposed. And even if your heavy metals came out high, I'm not going to go and say do a heavy metal cleanse. It's just those aren't necessary. But when we optimize our detox pathways and we're getting better sleep and we're keeping our heavy, we might be, making food choices that are wiser than the heavy metal fishes and stuff and sources of heavy metals. Our body can find some regulation. So then we'll retest this score. And if you're going below 50, you don't have to, be concerned about your heavy metals situation. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Very helpful.
Okay, good. And that's the thing about a lot of these, things out there. It's like test this, test that, and then take this. Well, still, I just believe so strongly that when we optimize at our genetic level, we're going to be firing our detox pathways are better, and we're just able to be exposed to different things without having such a toxic burden on the body. And when we're emotionally addressing our emotional well-being as well, like having the heavier emotions, addressing them, acknowledging them, communicating how we feel in our friendships and in our intimate relationships, and most specifically in our relationship with ourselves, that's when our body starts optimizing. We feel more at home in our body and we become more alive in our relationships and how we show up in everyday life. I always say the best gift we can give ourselves is forgiveness. And forgiveness is for ourselves first, and you don't even have to know why. It could be generational stuff, subconscious stuff. I forgive you for whatever you feel wronged or harmed, or, you didn't say yes to that, or you should have said this. Just forgive yourself. Don't even think about what it is. Just say, I love you and I forgive myself. So after you scrape your tongue, we're going to habit stack to what we're already doing. Look in the mirror, look at your eyes and smile and say, I forgive you and I love you, and release all shame, blame, and guilt to yourself. And that's the biggest gift you can give yourself. It really releases stagnation in the liver and in the gut. And then you can give it, and then you can say, and I forgive whoever else wronged or harmed me. It's not like you're condoning that behavior or releasing them off the hook per se. You're giving yourself that gift. So I'll just say that. And you don't even have to rehash what those wrongs or whatever were. Just simply by saying, I give myself permission to forgive and have unconditional love for myself and for others. And it's a beautiful gift. It releases so much subconscious emotional stagnation and toxicity in the body that you just probably will never even be able to quantify. Okay, that's what I'll say about that. So our mitochondria power our brain, our muscles, our hormones, our emotions. So imagine every cell in the body is a little city, and the mitochondria are the power plants keeping the lights on. Okay, why do they matter? Because our energy, mood, and metabolism depend on them. So how well we're detoxing, how well we're functioning, how well we're absorbing our nutrients, and how well we're able to navigate life depends on our energy. How well we show up in our workplace as leaderships, as role models, right? And when mitochondria thrive, we feel focused, strong, and alive, and we feel more embodied in our human meat suit. And when we're struggling with our mitochondria, we feel fatigue. We rely on caffeine and external sources to get us through the day. We have mood swings. We feel more triggered. We might say things we don't really mean. We're not as effective communicators. We don't see solutions to problems as easily. We get brain fog, and our metabolism is sluggish. We just feel heavy and weighed down. So our mitochondria decide how quickly we age. So you can see two people that are 50 years old. One person looks like they're in their 40s, and one person can look, aging well beyond their years. So we need to pay attention to our mitochondria, our detox load, and our metabolic flexibility to be able to show up the best that we can. So, also mitochondria and hormones. They're endocrine glands. Our ovaries, thyroid, and adrenals, they all have mitochondria in them. They make hormones. Mitochondria make hormones from cholesterol. So I did mention this the other day that cholesterol, only 25% of our cholesterol comes from our diet. Vitamin D is converted into cholesterol. Well, I'll say this, the sun, vitamin D receptors take the energy from the sun to make um, cholesterol in our body. So only 25% is coming from our diet. So the idea of taking a statin to reduce our cholesterol is ridiculous. Unless your cholesterol is at life-threatening stages, maybe you need a cholesterol medication for a limited time. It shouldn't be a life sentence for you. But you need to address the lifestyle and the underlying root causes why your cholesterol is high. It's stagnation in the liver, stagnation in the gut, built up toxins, and sluggish powerhouses in your cells. So hormone producing organs are mitochondria rich, and low mitochondria energy equals hormone imbalance. So when our mitochondria are tired, our hormones lose their rhythm. So like I said, it's not your hormones. Hormones are followers, they're not leaders. So when we go to the doctor to get on hormone replacement therapy, they're not looking at our baseline. They're not looking at our genetics. They're not looking at our how our mitochondria are firing. So they just give you this, they look at your blood serum, what's circulating in your blood. That's why I always say what's circulating doesn't matter. It's what's getting inside your cells that matters. And blood serum tests don't give you that picture. So that's why I also have another test. These are the three tests that I feel like are the Bible, or lack of a better word, for essentials for giving you your blueprint of what's going on in your body. The other test is the age code test, and this looks at what's happening inside your cells for the last 90 days. So, like I said, who cares what's circulating in your blood? How many of us have gone to the doctor and our levels look good and they say you're fine, but you feel like shit, or you know something's off and you can feel better? I, I know for up until I was 45 years old, I was going to my lady doctor and getting my annual blood work done just because that was what I did, right? And she'd be like, oh, your levels look fine, you're great. And I'm like, gosh, I wish, someone could tell me what's optimal for my age. What's optimal for my age and for where I am uniquely, because I'm not the average 46-year-old. My biological age is 36.7. So I want to know how I can optimize. I don't want to be the average American that's 46 years old, because you know what? The average American is on one or more chronic medication, and that's normalized. They're saying that this is normal. That's bullshit. And these medications are lifestyle related medications. So not because it's in your genetics, it's lifestyle and toxic exposure. And it's because doctors don't think people know how care, they just want a pill. Well, that tide is shifting rapidly, isn't it? People don't want a pill for an ill. There are still some people stuck in that with their blinders on, and we're here to help them and share this information and let them know that they don't have to be stuck in that paradigm shift that's keeping them sick. And we can take our power back. We can reverse these chronic conditions. Mainstream medicine has us falling through the cracks, especially as women. We get gaslit. We're told our hormones look great on paper. There's nothing wrong with you. Off you go. Or at best, they give you a few hormones to kind of throw against the wall and see, maybe this will help. Well, maybe it'll help you feel better for a few days or a few months, but it's not a lifestyle fix. I mean, it's certainly not a lifestyle fix. If you're not changing what got you stuck in the first place and feeling like crap, it's not just because we age and we go through menopause and we lose our estrogen and progesterone. Yes, that's part of life, but we shouldn't have to feel like shit. 30, 50 years ago, women didn't necessarily feel like shit. They moved through this with ease and grace. But now, because of this toxicity load and the things that are killing our mitochondria and keeping us unhealthy and metabolically dysfunctional, that's why we're having problems. Not because we need hormone replacement therapy. We are designed to move through these cycles of life and have an amazing second chapter in our after menopause. So it's a rewiring of the brain. It's an opportunity to really thrive and to Dr. Mindy is writing a book called Age Like a Girl, and she's go and do yourself a favor and pre-order that book. It's coming out soon. And if you are in that second half of life, it's very empowering. So it's not that you need to run to your doctor and ask for HRT to feel better or to feel relevant or to feel like you're part of society. It's about understanding what phase in life you are and optimizing and thriving with age-appropriate hormones. I mentioned Dr. Nasha Winters yesterday or the day before, and she's a doctor that has seen thousands of patients. They all come to her for HRT. She's worked with them to optimize their genetics, optimizing function, age-appropriate function, optimizing age-appropriate hormones without external exogenous HRT, and not one person has she put on HRT. All their symptoms of imbalance and things that made them not feel themselves and made them feel rageful, made them feel like they don't give a shit or that they don't feel good in their bodies or even suicidal or even most of her patients have been diagnosed with cancer. Divorce rates are the highest initiated by women as they go through menopause because they just don't have a tolerance and their hormones are fucked up and creating chaos in the brain. But when you support the age appropriate function and cellular function and you support your genetics, all those symptoms of imbalance go away. So that's my point. I don't mean to belabor it, but I just wanted to get that across because it's so empowering when we know how to work with our body's natural rhythms at any age, whether we're in our fertile years, pre-menopausal, or going through the rapids of menopause. You don't have to you can rewrite your story and you can embrace your second chapter in life from, post-menopausal and maybe perhaps you even feel better than you ever have in your entire life. So that's really cool. So the mitochondria and the genes. So how are these related? So your DNA your DNA isn't fixed. We've talked about that if you haven't, taken that key takeaway yet. And mitochondria have their own DNA. They communicate with your genes. So like I said, we have 10 times more microbiome in our body than we do our human cells. And by the way, we have like 70 trillion human cells. The number is like 40 to 70 trillion, depending on your body size. But we have 10 times more. So 40 trillion times 10 DNA in our microbiome in our body. So that's why we need to optimize and live with our microbiome. We shouldn't be in fear of these viruses and bacteria. We live in an ecosystem, and all I do in my work is help you optimize your internal microbiome. And so all this stuff sounds like a lot of information, especially if a lot of it's new to you. But when you put your 30-day roadmap, it really brings it home to you specifically. And it's a roadmap that continues to evolve with you month after month. And it's a roadmap where you can revisit these questionnaires and celebrate your wins as your scores go down. And it's a roadmap that will continue to support you through all stages of your hormonal life. So that's the name of the game. And this is, like I said, a lot of information, but when you start applying it and just even if you're just pulling out one thing at a time every month and you add one more thing, all of a sudden you're going to have a master's in your own health and vitality, and you'll need less inputs you'll just show up better in all phases of life. So the DNA communicates with our genes, and the lifestyle choices turn health genes on and disease genes off. So that's what we're doing in Balance, Optimize, Thrive and the 30-day community reset. That's what we're going to be doing. We're turning health genes on and disease off. Doesn't that sound good? And so what you inherited from your parents isn't your destiny. Your mitochondria responds to how well you live today. So that's the good news. And this is all very empowering, positive news. I hope so. I hope I'm not like, being doomy or gloomy. It's the whole point is it's so empowering because now you understand how to work with your body instead of go out and look for, pills for an ill or drugs or HRT or the pill to like address, the skin issues or the fibroids or the PCOS or the menopause nightmare or the postmenopausal transitions, like whatever it is. We don't need to outsource all this because we can optimize our thrive state and age appropriate function. So there we go. Am I repeating myself? I don't mean to be so, anyway. So mitochondria and aging. So Aging, like I said, we can have two people the same biological age, the same number of our candles on our birthday cake, but those two people can look drastically different. One can look drastically younger, and one could look aged well beyond their years. So this is all environmental, and it's not tied to your genes, it's not your hormones, and it's not your age necessarily. So we have more control than we've been led to believe. Aging is mitochondrial decline. So if there's anything that we can do to boost our mitochondrial health, that fasting, that autophagy, these longer fasts, working a lifestyle with this, using Zen Cleanse to limit the toxic load, and those of us that, using frequency therapy, getting out in nature, recharging with the sun, recharging with bare feet on the ground, this is how we optimize and thrive for the rest of our life. Aging is a story of mitochondrial damage. So we're going to talk about food too. Food is medicine. We're going to bring this food into our 30-day reset, and we're going to understand how to break a fast and how to optimize all these elements. Weak mitochondria lead to inflammation, premature aging, fatigue, and brain fog, and mental decline and a strong mitochondria are related to resilient body. So we can not be fearful of eating out and worrying about every little ingredient in our food. We can be more resilient to being exposed to the stuff that isn't serving us. So scientists now call aging a mitochondrial disease because when your cellular batteries go dim, so does your vitality. Okay, I know. I'm glad you're still here with me, and I'm sorry this is running late, but we did get started a little late. But I do have one more slide to just go over, or one more point to bring to you. So how to recharge these cells. We've kind of talked a lot about this, but simple ways to rebuild your energy factories is fasting. So this is the free, no cost, save time and money tool, right? We talked about the 6 styles of fasting. 13 to 15 hours intermittent fasting starts reducing that insulin resistance, but we've got 17 hours is that cellular cleanup. So you're starting to recycle old mitochondria, old cells with limping along mitochondria that aren't serving you. So you're rebuilding your biology literally cell by cell with a 17-hour fast. That's something you can do once a week. And the cool thing is you can map it around your social schedule. I just wouldn't recommend going more than 13 hours 10 days before your cycle if you're still having a period. Other than that, throw it in your tool bag once a week. So I'm going to go over the different fasts. So just to recap for those that weren't there. So we've got the 17-hour autophagy fast. We've got the 24-hour gut reset fast. And we have the 36-hour fat burner fast. We have the 48-hour mood boosting fast. So that's going to boost your happy feel good hormones, get more joy. It's going to reset your threshold for finding joy in the little things in everyday life and more satisfaction in things that bring you joy. And then we have the 72-hour moon boosting reset fast. So these are peak autophagy happening, peak cell stem repair, and full body repair. And, it's so funny. I've had people do group fast with me, 17 hours, and they're like, I don't know if I can go longer than 24 hours. Fast forward, now they're at 72 hours, and they're like, Trish, can I go a little longer? I'm feeling really fantastic. And I'm like, well, the answer is within you. You got to check into your body. What do you need? How are you feeling? Yes, you can if you feel good. And so there's an art to breaking the fast to continue to gain the momentum. And these are the things we're going to talk about in our 30-day reset. And that is being launched together in community on October 20th. So you can join the group and you can learn about feasting and fasting cycling, and then if you want to layer in certain things like Zen Cleanse with it, and if you want to layer in frequencies, and if you want to layer in other things, that I'm here for you, and this is what we're building. So share this with your friends and bring people. There's really no barrier to entry. I'm not doing it for a fee. I'm doing it for you guys to come in and build community. And then, of course, when you do use like certain affiliate things that I'm affiliated with, I will get a commission. So that's kind of a little way that I can help keep my lights on and support, keep doing these free things that I'm doing. But doing this in community, I feel like we learn from each other and we grow together. So, okay, how do we recharge your cells? Sunlight and red light. So we talked about this, like sunset and sunrise. It is a beautiful time to get that red light and reset our mitochondria and power and recharge our batteries. We've got cold and heat that build resilience. And, someone once said we shouldn't be using our heaters and air conditionings throughout the seasons. This is an Ayurveda kind of mentality, is that our bodies should be exposed to hot and cold. You know, here's a concept. You don't grow and expand and change and evolve in comfort, right? We don't thrive, we don't Comfort never really fosters lasting change and growth. We have to feel discomfort to work out to build muscles. We have to feel discomfort to, shed relationships that no longer serve us. And we evolve and grow with that being said. Sorry, a calendar reminder just popped up and it distracted me. So cold and heat. So we shouldn't maybe be driving in our cars with our AC on in the summer. Maybe we should be feeling a little bit of heat and sweating and releasing the toxins. Sweat is a major detox pathway. Our detox pathways are elimination through number one and number two, our sweat, through our tongue, when we're scraping our tongue, through elimination and breath is a huge detox pathway. So lungs is an exchange of oxygen and toxins that are in our body. So anything you could do to optimize your detox pathways is where it's at. So, and what I mean by not being comfortable all the time is like maybe we just embrace we're coming into a cooler season here in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's nice to be cozied up with our warm sweaters, but also understand that, we just don't always grow in our comfort zone. So we need to, yes, you will step into fasting that's going to challenge your comfort zone, but allow yourself to sit with it and see what's coming up. Give yourself permission to see what's coming up for you emotionally, mentally, and physically, and let it release without judgment. Give yourself compassion and always know there's no such thing as a failed fast. It's always an opportunity to learn where your body needs support and where you feel strong and celebrate those. And then you can use that information to grow. And that's what we'll be learning together in this 30-day reset. Okay, so minerals, enzymes, and hydration fuel cellular energy as well as food. So we'll talk about alive bioavailable foods, and that's Zen Cleanse, and that's these probiotics and prebiotic foods, and regulating our sleep and nervous system. We'll also go through some applied neurology drills that are going to give you instant feedback. I'm all about personalization. So instant feedback about what's working for your body. I'm going to go through each of our chakra energy systems, and we're going to match that each one to, we're going to pair 2 chakra energies with applied neurology drills, and you're going to get instant feedback from your body as to what is good for your unique nervous system and what works for you in real time. So then you have some movement that is now tailored to your specific body type and emotional and mental and physical state. Sound good? So energy is something you can change. It's not something you chase. So it's not, don't think of it like caffeine is a chasing energy, but energy is something that comes from the inside out, is what you're doing to fuel your powerhouses. Caffeine does not fuel your powerhouses. It taxes your adrenals and your powerhouses and your nervous system. So another fun fact is an apple. An apple has more energy. So instead of reaching for that afternoon coffee to get you through that afternoon slump, who has an afternoon coffee sometimes? No? Okay. Well, some people do. And if you do, instead try swapping out for an apple. An apple will give you energy, but it won't give you that crash that can sometimes come after you have caffeine. So, or if you're reaching for those energy drinks. So anyway, that's just a side note. So energy isn't something you chase. It's something that you have within, and it comes from sunlight, grounding, minerals, and you create by aligning your biology with nature. So your sleep-wake cycles and sunlight exposure can help with all of that. So I'm just really excited to move through all of this with you. And this last 3 days have been, I didn't know where this was going to go and how deep I was going to go into this, but you guys have been receiving a lot of this well, and I love your feedback. And I just really appreciate you guys showing up and showing up for yourselves and showing up for each other and sharing. So would everyone like to unmute and say something before we wrap up here?
You're awesome.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, I love it. When you're talking about that that our bodies should be able to fight all these things, and it's our bodies are made like it is empowering. You were so passionate about, talking about how amazing our bodies are, and that we shouldn't be like it makes it so that because I'm 51 now, so the age thing is scary. But to know that we don't have to just sit back and like take it, and we can keep going, moving forward, and be like hopefully be the healthiest we've ever been, that's totally empowering. And yes, I want that.
Yeah. Good. So go out. It's yours to claim, and we'll just keep building on it month by month, and you'll just see where your body needs more support and see where you're celebrating the wins. And yeah, it's amazing. It's it's fun to be empowered. It's very empowering. It's fun to be empowered to know how we can support our individual growth and evolution. Well, I really appreciate you all showing up, and thank you for the love. But really, I do this because it just lights me up to share this information because I just want everyone to know this. So please find two friends, share it with them. And if there was two or three things that really stuck out and resonated with you today, just share it with people because it helps you reinforce it and keep it in your brain and know that you can be empowered that way. And then let's have a ripple effect that creates a movement where the more people that are doing this, when we're all feeling better, when people feel shitty, we're mean to each other and we don't, it's not a fun environment to be in. But when we're all thriving and feeling better, there's a lot more love to go around and a lot more abundance in all, we just feel better connected to each other and ourselves. So that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, that's why I love this community and every like in-person event and the love that you feel, and everybody wants to hug each other, and it's great. Like why not? Why wouldn't you want to surround yourself by these positive, inspiring people?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a total gift.
Yeah, it is a gift. And it's true, the biology that happens when we're together like this, it raises your dopamine, your feel-good hormones. So, and cortisol lowers. So cortisol will eat at dopamine. And when you come in and you're, not feeling stressed, so that all has to do with our hormones feeling good, and that has lasting impact on, how we move through life. So, yay.
Love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Rachel or Goalie, you both have been a little quiet, and I know we've gone over, and I will wrap this up. But if either of you want to say anything, we'd love to hear from you. If not, we'll see you on the 20th. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Sorry, Goalie or Rachel, did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to thank you. It's been wonderful.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to link arms with you and see where this goes.
Yes, me too.
Trish, thanks as always.
You're welcome. And so
Look forward to being your neighbor on the 18th.
yes, well, that's a perfect segue. So the 18th is at Laguna Beach High School on the football field. There's going to be a yoga festival. So it's a little bit of yoga, a little bit of dance, a little bit of manifestation, a little bit of breath work. Rachel will be there with Oxylon Wellness at a booth, and we're talking about how oxygen therapies, water, and baths can optimize our longevity and health and well-being and resilience. And I'll be there, doing my thing. And I invite you all to come. Even if you can't come for the whole day, I have tickets for you. And if you want a ticket, just reach out to me and I'll get that to you. But please come. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, don't let that ticket go to waste. Share it to somebody who can show up. And if you want more than one ticket, if you know someone that can use a day of fun in the sun and recharging our batteries and boosting our oxytocin and like-minded people, then please bring them along. I have a handful of tickets that we can maybe.
I have some too.
Okay, great. And let's make this another Harmonium event. So we'll reach out to our Harmonium community and also Friends Beyond Harmonium, and anyone that can, like-minded folks and people that want to thrive together.
Yay, sounds exciting.
Yeah. Should be really good. So mark your calendars, save the date. If you go to the chat right now, you'll see, does everyone see? I don't know if because sometimes if you came after I posted those, it might not show, so I can copy and repost if you need them. Or actually, better yet, I'm going to post it on my Instagram so you can find it there and share it. This is what I'm asking you to do for me as a gift to me. If you could go to my Instagram, I'm going to post this yoga festival flyer that Mel beautifully did for me. It's stunning. I'm going to post this on, well, she's doing a flyer for me for my social post. I will be posting that on there. If you could do me a favor and like me on Instagram, if you're not already following me, if you could share it with tag 3 friends that you want to bring, or maybe that might be interested. And if you could share it to your stories, that would be awesome. And like, let's just, spread the love. And then I will, for those of you who need some tickets, let me or Rachel know, and we'll get those tickets to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that will be shared. I'll get that up by today or tomorrow. Okay, beautiful friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love your light and your smiles and your energy and your gifts and your questions and everything. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful weekend, everyone.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye, ladies. You too.
Bye.
Bye.